So we are now recording the May 29th, 2020 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday. So we all survived yet another COVID-19 week.
Is it flying to you guys? I don't know. It seems to be going really, all of a sudden it's like, it's Friday again. It's Friday again.
It does seem to be going fast for me, but it seems like hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And everything that I'm doing takes like 5 times longer to do. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, the restaurant's opened out here, but I can't find anybody to go with. And I can't take my dog.
Restaurants still aren't open here for another couple of days. Even then, it's patio only.
Same for us. Same for us. They're going with the June 5th date.
You know what they've passed? They have really strict rules about who can have a table and chairs outside, and the restaurant has to abide by all. So they have to have enough room for people to go by and parking and they're doing temporary ordinances, and where restaurants can apply to have more. They've even blocked off streets so we can do that. And I'm like, I really hope this sticks. I really hope, that we can. Like, especially with the walking, that they could actually block off parts of streets and enable more moving around parking. I like that.
I know Seattle's closed off a bunch of streets permanently.
I don't know that I like the eating in the streets though. I mean, I've done that at restaurant festivals. They're where you have tables outside. But if you've got cars rolling by, the noise, the dirt.
No, I'm talking about they're actually, blocking areas, I think.
Yeah,
I haven't gone down. I haven't left the house, so I don't know.
So it's more like a sidewalk cafe type of effect.
Reading it.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, we've eaten outside here in California forever, so.
They were supposed to be voting. I'm actually trying to look at it right now, but last week we were talking about it, and Ventura was supposed to be voting on that same ordinance where they were going to take, for our downtown section, they would actually block off all of Maine, and the only thing that would be open would be the cross streets. So they'd have the blockers basically for both retail and for restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about doing it for a year, which I felt a year was too long. I think 3 months is a good starting point with the option to extend. But I mean, if you're staying a year, that means you're bringing in cement, and that just just means a lot more, right? That has to be done for that, I think.
Right. I don't know.
At least they could change the stoplights to be something kind of cool, like changing all the time. They're not being used.
So what's the general consensus in the community, the people you talk to around you, your neighbors and that?
I don't know. I don't get to see anybody because we're still socially distancing.
Oh, that's right. You're at home, aren't you? You're not going into the office.
Well, maybe they had to do it for a year, and out of that year, they'll get to do it for 4 months. If they're talking the year 2020.
Oh, so I'd be cool with that. I feel like if we're talking 12 months, that's a
long
time
yeah.
for that, and there's a lot more infrastructure that goes into place for that than
a
3-month barrier that's filled with hot water, right? That somebody doesn't drive through.
Right. Yeah. Got it. Well, I don't know. I think there's hope for Orlando and scaling new heights the end of September because Disney's opening and Epcot's opening July 15th, which means I'm going to go make my reservations.
I would let it be open for a little while and see what happens.
Well, they're offering special tickets to Disney too that Ernest was talking about.
Maybe Intro could have face mask with their logo on it.
Those people at Scaling New Heights, if you need somebody to fill in at the last moment, feel free to give me a call. Need you to help me take care of airfare, but I'll come out.
I may have a ticket for you because I switched all my tickets from St. Louis to Orlando and got money back.
Nice.
It was actually, Orlando is one of the cheaper airports to fly in and out of, believe it or not.
Yeah, I told Linda she should reach out, Florida Linda, like you should reach out to Skelly New Heights and tell them you'd be available. I mean, it's in your backyard. It's a 3-hour
I-
drive for her.
Yeah,
Like that.
that's not too bad.
Better than ours.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say earlier, that y'all have that thing going on about the gators. We actually left the house last week. We didn't.
Yeah, you
we just
saw
had
the
to get
gators
out.
swimming.
We just had to get out of the house, even if we didn't get out of the car. I said we just had to get out of here, and so we went over to the wildlife refuge and just put the
Thank you.
doors down. We can see the
Thank you,
gators.
thank you.
Gators.
It's great because it's a new season.
Yeah.
So when that whole thing started, I had no expectation that people were going to pick up on it and like start posting pictures the way
Oh.
they did.
I think of gators. I think of you and Linda. That's all.
Yeah, I've got, my neighbor's got the stuffed gator that is like 5-6 feet long. And one of these days I'm bringing it in here and I'm going to show you. My little dog is going to attack this giant gator. And it's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Fun.
Okay, let's talk PPP again.
Yeah.
I know. Are we about done beating this dead horse?
No, it's just beginning all over again because they're going to change all the rules. But
Of course they are. Of course they are, all the way up until the end. And
we
you're,
can still gather documents. We can still be working on it.
but that's the accountant in you. You want to try and be prepared. You want to gather the documents. You want to be ready when you act. But if they keep changing the rules, I don't see how you can be ready.
You kind of have to wait until the end and then get ready.
Well, the problem is we're trying to do projections, and how do you do projections when we don't know what the answer is going to be? So I do have a client. I've got some that just hit their 5th week. I've got one with their 6th week. Fortunately, the rest of them are a little behind, but I feel bad for the ones that are already on their 7th, 8th week.
Not right.
But haven't they opened the timeline up?
But they already made decisions and spent the money. So there
They've
are
already
companies
spent
out
it.
there that literally paid people to do nothing.
They
because
took
they
people
had to
off of
spend the money.
unemployment. Yep.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Mm-mm.
It's not fair at all, but
So it was passed, the new rule, well, there's 2 different bills, but one passed the House and is going to the Senate. Now, what I can't find, because I know that you can find all this on the internet and actually read the bills, because I know that they tried to tack on all kinds of stuff about anything that didn't have anything to do with PPP again. I mean, this is
That's the HEROES Act is what you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about this one. This
Okay.
one, they tacked on a little legislation on, yeah. Anyway, but I didn't really want to wade into it, but I really am curious about a House version versus the Senate version to see where they're going to
Make the
clash.
changes. It's interesting.
I know that the House says extending 8 weeks to
26
something like that, but then
to the end of the year, basically. is
end
what
of
it
the
was.
year. But then the Senate version was like a different number. And then that 75-25, that's been a, I mean, I know what they were trying to do. They're trying to say, hey, we're giving you this money for payroll. If you don't spend it on payroll, we're going to start dinging you. So I understand that, except that the way they've got it structured, you can't even get to the 75. So they're I think they voted for 60-40, which will help. And then extending how long it takes to spend it will help everybody. I think they should just say, if it's 100,000 and under, keep it. Because those are just really small businesses. They're having to all this labor and stress and figuring out what to do. Just
I agree with you. I think that's actually really smart. I'm going to tell my conspiracy theory. I'll make it a fast one. I firmly believe at this point now that this entire thing is all about the federal government recognized we are about to accrue a whole bunch of federal debt in the means of federal unemployment. Hey, why don't we create this thing? Let's call it the PPP. Let's create the PPP. We'll get small business owners to take loans. Now, we're going to say they're forgivable. we'll give them loans that they can take. And instead of people being on unemployment, they'll take these loans on and pay their employees to keep that federal debt down because it's going to be forgivable.
Forgivable, but taxable. So at least we'll get the taxes on it.
Oh, and we're going to give them these loans and they're going to have to sign them without any terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Oh, that,
And don't
that was
forget,
the other thing.
my best part is, don't forget, the lenders can sell them on the third market and the lenders decide who's forgiven or not. I'm done.
Well, I think one bill is extending it from 2 years to 3, and then the other one's to 5. So I don't know where we are with that. I'll tell you what, people are going to be really shocked when you get a note, when you get a debt, and then they amortize it over 18 months. Nobody's going to be able to pay those.
$60,000 is about $550 a month because it's 18 months.
Yeah, the act, it's HR 7010,
What's HR 7010?
House
Awesome.
Resolution
I'll pull it up right now.
7010. It's only 10. It's only 10 pages long.
Oh, really? HR what? 7?
HR 7010. It's at congress.gov. You can get the text.
Yep. I'm on that. May I share it? Would everybody like me to? Okay. Do.
I've allowed it,
Thank you.
the sharing.
It passed the House. Senate is next. Okay, there it is. Oh, is that a recap? That's real short.
There it is. You pull up. Yeah, that's it right there.
Hold on. I need to turn on my BS filter. Oh, wait, there's nothing left. My bad. So let's see here. The important things: amendments, forgiveness.
Yeah, I have a simpler recap.
I'll take that. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, look at this. Copy. Chat.
Or you can just.
I could just share my screen. So I can sort of, here, go poke that. It seems to
You
be
hear me.
easier to read.
Yeah, but does
So
it
make-
have the content?
Let's bring yours back up.
Coming up
Oh.
right now.
Okay.
On the way.
Oh, but maybe it doesn't have all the detail you need. Never mind. Well, read
well-
the text. The text was published. The updated test. See the changes. That's interesting. See the changes of what they passed.
Details?
We were comparing what to what.
Oh,
No, it's just different versions
It's
of
just
it.
different versions.
I'll tell you what. I will skim through this real quickly as we talk through other
Oh,
topics.
it's a
And then-
bill and then it becomes an act?
Yeah. It still hasn't been passed is the whole point, which is the hard part. The Senate still has to go through this. The Senate is off. So that's why we're looking at the soonest would be next week.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that does mean that my favorite person, Miss NP, we'll just call her that, gets her hands onto it all and will probably triple this thing or quadruple it and pay for the rest of the world to have Kool-Aid for the rest of their life. Something like that.
Oh, and they're also trying to make it so that we can delay our employer's share of our payroll 941 taxes and pay those over a couple years or something.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not either.
As a payroll
Who's
person,
gonna
no.
keep track of it? How?
Well, they don't care.
Pieces of
They just-
941
They just,
payments.
they
Oh
just
my
write this
God.
stuff. They don't
They
care
don't
about
care.
the logistics.
I mean,
of it.
I see that they're trying to get cash in people's hands.
Yeah, but that's what happens when people that have never owned or run a business before are trying to pass laws
Right.
are going to affect real business owners. You
Maybe
can't.
they should talk to the accounting industry. That might be. How can we do this?
You've got career politicians versus business people.
Oh,
Term limits, term limits, term limits.
Yay, yay, yay. Okay, let's switch gears like 180. We're going to talk.
Oh, you know what we were supposed to talk about was not the bill, but how do you get payroll reports? We run out.
Right. But let's
It
Let's
won't
put
matter
that
until
beast
after
to
we get
bed.
the answer anyways.
we're going to talk about zero versus QBO. This is Mary's question. She wants to know what you think of zero versus QBO. Dennis, you are using zero
Yeah, primarily because you don't have to pay for it.
primarily because you have to pay for it. Shelley?
Also, Shelley Robbins really likes it. I like the bank reconciliation better because it's easier, but it's probably not as accurate as QBO.
Isn't there there something weird with that? Like, it was
Can
written in
you-
Australia
you
where they
have-
don't have canceled outstanding checks, and it
I don't know. They
doesn't
have
show.
checks it's in New Zealand, I guess they're from.
Right, and I
I
think
don't
that's the big problem. They
I don't
don't
think they
have
they don't have
checks.
checks in New Zealand.
All right.
We
So
in
how
America
is
had
it-
checks to deal with, so it's weird in zero trying to deal with it.
outstanding.
Also, the
items.
reports are kind of
Yeah.
odd. I mean, it's like, but like I say, I don't pay for it, and I do like I've been using it about 5 or 6 years now, so I'm used to it.
Did
I
you
would say the
make it-
reports in QBO are probably better. I think the bank recs are easier in zero. I like the rules. They have a thing called what is it? Cache something where you can
Cash
sort
coding, quick coding.
yeah, cache coding or something like that, where you can actually sort by payee, and it's a lot easier to reconcile. You can reconcile a lot faster.
But the reconciliation doesn't tie to the bank the same way, which is
Yeah,
what a lot of people have.
yeah,
challenges.
it's a it's okay. I mean, I like
Would it
um,
be good for,
I don't like I don't like to get too dependent on Intuit. I don't trust Intuit.
So Mary, what were you saying? Speak up, please.
would it be good for just a small, simple company or something? Is it cheap?
Yes,
I guess
yeah, it would. It's
price-wise, is it cheaper than QBO, which they keep
um
raising the price?
I
on?
think it's a little bit cheaper. They at least they're not competing with you, you know, like yeah, that's it, cache coding. So you can just kind of stratify or sort them and by, and then you can just check out groups of you know, yeah, like there you can just check them off in groups.
So you bulk update them basically.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
basically,
reconcile.
yeah, you can make. I haven't seen that in QBO or of course, I don't really use QBO that much, so I just
use
have kind of a bias against Intuit in the sense that I've seen them start down roads and then all of a sudden they slam on the brakes and you get thrown off in the ditch, you know.
That's what I was looking for. I'm looking for some alternative, you know.
I would recommend it. I mean, you can probably get it for free if you're an accountant or bookkeeper.
To try it, but yeah.
It's a
It takes
different
some-
way of thinking. It's a
Yeah,
different,
it takes
there's
some getting.
different terminology.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, yeah, because it's from New Zealand, they've got different terminology for certain for different.
I know. Do I want to learn something new like that?
Well, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Stage
like,
of our career.
do you want to? Yeah, it's well. Look at it, it's like that's a cost, time and energy. That's a big cost in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, how long you plan on working.
Yeah, I don't have that much time left, so I don't think I'll dive into that.
Well,
Well,
yeah, it's like
thank-
me. I don't. You know, I'm like 70. I don't really want to
I know.
be
Yeah.
embarking on, you know, business planning for my next 20 years. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
And 8 years ago, I looked at supporting it, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. And the fact that you can't do a real bank reconciliation, I just could never get past that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They one of their biggest things that people like is they have special pricing plans where I think it's like $1 a month or something like that for your catch up cleanup kind of people, where it's just you're pulling everything in, catching up the year to try to get everything ready. You can do company files for really, really inexpensive. But like everybody said, the process in which you use it is very different, very, very different. Like I
Yes.
personally like the bank feeds way better in QBO and the rules
Okay.
functionality.
Well,
I
you have
feel that
rules
those
in-
are time saving.
You have rules in zero too. You can
Yeah,
create
they
rules.
maybe it's because I couldn't hack them, so I couldn't do it as efficiently with zero. But the reporting actually was one area I always felt they did a better job on. You could really customize more
For zero or QBO.
for zero, actually. Like
Right.
I wish QBO would come out with a report where they literally just gave you the choice to pick anything. Just one blanket, here's your whole database, pick and choose what you want, and then let us go to town and then let us share those. Man, you'd have a lot of happy people.
Yeah.
Except for Ernest, he would be out of a job then.
Sorry, Ernest.
Well, then it wouldn't
Maybe
be-
you can consult on it.
wouldn't be an Intuit product.
Wouldn't be an Intuit product.
Yeah.
And I could actually solve all the challenges he keeps tossing my way during QB Community Live weekly sessions.
Well, I'm anxious to learn or get my feet wet anyway into Gravity, because I figure, say we have another 6 years to deal with our career. So is desktop going to last that long? Enterprise, definitely. The lower babies, probably not. So they'll either shove everybody to enterprise, and if it isn't a good fit, bye-bye. So where do they go? And
Sell it off. Like they won't
I
just
think
cut
they'll
it off.
sell it
They'll
off
sell
like
it.
Reckon. They sold off a version. They call it Reckon in Australia. I'm hoping that'll happen. But if I really, when you think about going to the cloud and you really want to go to the cloud, what are your options? I mean, there's
Not a lot that's comparable, but you know what's really up and coming? Zoho Books.
yeah,
Believe
that
it or
was
not,
getting good
they've now
reviews.
bounced into the contenders.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now mid-market, see, that's why I'm thinking, all right, maybe I should just, after 30 years of dealing with these low-level clients, budget-wise, if I am going to really learn Gravity, then that's a whole different, really a different market, except that QuickBooks Advanced is so expensive that it really is comparable.
Yeah.
So it may not even be that much of it into the mid-market. It's sort of like that little gray area between, but you've got companies buying desktop every 3 years and running, 10 companies on it. And then if they're forced to QBO, they're getting per month so we had a little, I know that's on the agenda, talking about how Intuit must be, it's getting a little obvious, working it so that, right now you can set up as many users as you want in a desktop file, that they're going to actually link those to Intuit login.
So that you can't be logged in.
They're doing it with admin now, but they're already suggesting that you get your users to go get their own account. And so if they would just be honest about it, tell us what they're doing and give us a time frame. But they're just sort of, here's an update. Oops, the software won't work unless you log in.
I love how they turn features off. That is the thing that is the most insulting to me ever. The fact with bank feeds, it's a newer thing, because bank feeds really 2013, 2014 was really when they really started. Yeah. So fast forward 2.5 years, you're talking 2017 was the first time that I remember I was helping LedgerSync, and all of a sudden bank feeds wouldn't work, and everybody's like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Oh, they just pushed this little update. They said, turn this off now. Thank you. And you can't even import then like that. You can't do any of that Bank Center stuff, that's wrong.
Yes.
That's why I say I don't trust Intuit.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was like, do I want to learn? And this is me just personally. Do I want to, if I'm going to learn something new and I'm going to invest time, I want to see what else is out there other than Intuit. So that's why QBO, I don't like the practices. So that's why I've been looking elsewhere. And that's probably why, like Mary said, she's looking at Zero or,
Go ahead, Linda.
What I noticed today when I've been opening QuickBooks Desktop 2020 quite a bit. And this morning when I opened it, I said, install the update later. It's been asking me every time about a new update that's out. And I just said later. And then QuickBooks, I saw a message saying, you have only 5 more tries to update.
Oh, that's new.
Never seen that before.
Never seen that
before. So they're going to force you to do that update.
That's what it sounds like. And then my QuickBooks Desktop crashed, and I had to go. And then because I use QBox on my QuickBooks Desktop files, it went to sync because it had crashed and wouldn't open because I didn't install the update. And I'm going like, whoa, I need to call them on the phone and ask them about this, So I really was surprised. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're forcing us. Go ahead.
Same problem. I QuickBooks 2020, I could not open until I downloaded the update, and I didn't have a choice because I had to run payroll.
And do
That's
you have to
right.
restart your
Yeah.
computer?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have to restart your computer after that update?
3 times.
Oh, I've got 2 to convert this weekend. I made sure everybody's got it installed and the updates and everything, but they really wanted me. Thanks a lot. The last minute. Well, I figure once Monday hits, I mean, they'll have to have it updated before they do payroll on Tuesday or Wednesday. But
That's right, because it won't work.
And then I have one client that isn't using any of the services, so
No, they should be fine. Oh,
yeah,
they're not sending any. They're not
Mhm.
sending any emails. Okay, no email invoices. Or
payrolls on ADP and all.
they're
but
fine.
I
They're
want
fine.
them upgraded.
They need to upgrade for
Well,
once
I
every
got
3
them
years.
this is cool. I got them the accountant's version
Yes.
because it has batch enter, and they have an inventory system that rides alongside QuickBooks, and she actually hand keys in a bunch of activity, and I'm like, so we're already worked it out where we will export it into a common delimited file. It'll take her seconds versus, all
Right.
day. So,
Yes.
so I'm like, don't you want this new program loaded? Yeah, but COVID just sort of messed everybody up. I think it's
Sure
like,
did.
don't make any changes right now. I can't deal with anything else.
Yeah, got it.
And I understand that. So
Last subject today, we're going to talk about the insightful accountants, accounting. What was it? I can't read my writing.
it was, oh gosh, let me look.
Sarah
Accounting.
already quoted from it when she said,
Yeah.
she was quoting when she said, QuickBooks Enterprise will be around for a while, but the babies will be gone. That's what
Right.
Murph said,
This
which
is
means Pro and Premiere.
this was Gary DeHart will host the Insightful Accountant technical editor William Murphy or Bill
Chris Wise.
Murph and Chris Wise with Qbox. So
Oh, Chris.
Right.
it was them talking about desktop and then
Yep.
Qbox and then what Murph thinks about the future. So what do you think, Linda?
Right, and the other thing that Murph said is he's actually starting to teach some courses again. July 2nd, he's going to teach. See, he's gotten used to the fact, what is it, Parkinson's is what he has, I think?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's gotten used to it. He understands, oh, so I shake. So what? Who cares? Everybody
And
knows.
he doesn't, and he's not traveling. He could,
No, he's good.
So this will be about, what did he say? Data
wasn't-
maintenance type stuff. That's geeky.
Yeah, that's the really good stuff that he knows everything about, too.
Yeah.
So we need to just keep our eyes open for the July 2nd teaching.
Yeah.
He taught on that at the last Scaling New Heights,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just really helpful, where I was able to learn so much about what you could and couldn't do and why you really needed 12 gigabytes of RAM to run QuickBooks Desktop.
Yeah, just little things like that. He's been a wealth of knowledge through our career.
Yeah.
And I always go, what does Murph say?
Exactly. If Murph said it, I
Murph-
believe it.
Charlie Russell and Murph. Those are my two,
That's
and
it,
I keep trying to retire, and I'm like,
Is
How-
Charlie
I
Russell
haven't
still
seen
active?
Charlie in a while.
Yeah, is he
Where's
still active?
he's active online, but
Oh,
not,
he is.
but not in traveling and going to conventions and stuff. So
Okay. Well, we just lost Matthew.
As another appointment.
did he?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All righty.
So-
Well, is there anything else we want to talk about before we end today? That's it. That's what's happening in the exciting world of the accountants.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, did you see my post? I said, we accountants need to stay on our toes through all
Oh,
this.
yes, the
And
pirouette.
I always wanted to be a ballerina.
Oh, yeah.
I said. And then Missy,
See me, 6 foot tall, big turkey. I want to be a ballerina.
and Misty Meglia said instead of doing a pivot, now we have to do pirouettes.
All righty, we are going to end on that note for this week. See you all same time, same place next week.
Yes, happy
Nice
hour.
weekend.